Hi, welcome to this video about my pneumatic hand and robotic arm. Last time I reconstructed the elbow to a much smaller version. I also removed the gearing, so it is quite lean right now. Last time I also managed to fix the sensors here in the lower gear, and using the diagnostics interface I made sure that they actually work. So with all this, it is time to do some programming. Of course, I checked it frequently, and by using the compressor with the air chamber and compression engine that I designed myself. It is verified that the pneumatics work. Now and then some electric wire is going loose, but that's a matter of screw fixing a screw. So the only thing that really matters now is programming the gearing and the sensors. And last time when playing the program, it turned out that it already worked for a bit. The arm went up and down, and that was partly due to the rotating axis of the gearing already touching a sensor. And when we look at the code, you can see how that happened. So for now, let's go to some coding. To do some coding, I need, of course, Python, which is the only language that works for me. I can't use C because I have to upload that using some tool that doesn't work on Linux. And to use RoboPro, it is a nice tool, but it doesn't always accomplish what I have in mind. That said, all these digital inputs up till here are for the hand, and this one, digital 9, is the first sensor from the interface, the interface extension, because the Robo interface has 8 digital inputs. If you put an extension to it, it adds up to 9 till 16. Yes. So this is the first. What I have to do is add a 10th, and then I will just copy the whole thing, change everything in here, and now the point is that I have to I can use sleep. However, sleep isn't working correctly in this case. The point is I wanted to turn until the next sensor is being set, which is not being done here. So I have to add a while loop. That while not T digital 10, oops, that should be a colon, and let me check if these are actually spaces. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4. Well, not digital T9, T digital 10. Let it run, and I don't care about this line. I'll let it sleep for 1 second and just let it go. And after that it just should stop. And just have the motor stop. Else, if T digital 10, I can do exactly the same but the opposite way. Oops, that's not it. One, two, three, four. This is irritating. So and put a 1 second sleep in here. I may change that later to have it a shorter way, because I think that a shorter sleep is more smooth for movement. Anyway, this should be it. And then let's go to the camera to see if it works anyway. So with the new program parts added, let's see if it is actually working. And then making sure that the program is doing what it should. And I find that I have to press one sensor. It does stop, but this is not the way I intend to do it. So something is not quite the way it should. That means that I have to go back to the drawing board, so to speak. When I look at the hand, there's something else going on. So this means that the program is not functioning as intended, because the hand is not responding. Yes, back to the drawing board indeed. As you could see, the digital sensor 9 and 10 don't work as intended, and the point is that to get it really working, because now I have to press a sensor to get it working. When I add, if not T-digital 9 and not T-digital 10, then turn to the right and time sleep. Apart from that, I hope that these directions are actually correct. In this case it doesn't matter, because it can go either way, because neither of the sensors are touched. In this case it does matter, because if you touch it and the left turn is actually towards this sensor, there's nothing else left to do, and it should turn the other way around. So that is what I did right now, and let's see if this indeed is what it should do. Because here you see that I touch one finger to get the compression started. Here I touch one sensor to get it started, and that is 10, by the way. That is the, let me check for safety. This actually is indeed sensor 10. That is the upper sensor. And after that it senses the digital 9. So I hope that this program with these improvements or changes will actually work. Let's see. Starting it. I hear the motor whistle. So I think I should actually reverse the directions. Let me go to the microphone, move the microphone to the motors. That is a motor that doesn't work. So let me change the direction here. And go again. And now things actually look like working. So let me go to the camera and show you. And with the latest change in the software, changing the directions, you can actually see that things work. And now, of course, for some reason it stops. So for some reason something is wrong. Why does it stop? Let me do it again. This sounds like a motor that turns into a direction that it can't turn. A little bit of help. And now you see it works, but I had to help it a little bit, and that is not the intention. But it senses it's up and it senses it is down. So this is of course a perpetuum movement, as long as the program runs, that is. And also it becomes clear that, let me turn it a little bit, that it can go much further up depending on the setting of the gear, because the bottom of this is by no means reached. That said, if I turn it around a little bit further, the bottom is almost reached, and now you see it is stuck again. So that means that something is wrong. So while this code is actually working nicely, the question is, why does it suddenly stop doing what it should do? And of course here is something stupid going on. I'll change it to left, beat in Dutch, and this is right way, which is clockwise, and this is counterclockwise. So the question is, why does it stop all of a sudden? The only thing I can think of is running it again and see what actually happens. So, and it immediately wants to go away that it already is going. So let me it is going away it shouldn't go. This is very odd. Let me And now it works. Something does. And so far it does work. But what I also notice is that the compressor isn't working. So the fingers don't work. And that is different than previously, because then I had to press a finger button in order to get the compressor working, etc, etc. That is not the case now. The question is, why is that going? And let me stop it for now. Stop. Because what is also noticeable is this is 3, 4, 3, 4. A lot of them. Okay, I should start. This is hard to do. So, and this is impossible to do. So let me go on, and you see here this is 4 times, 2 times, 4 times, 3 times, 4 times, 2 times, 4 times, 2 times. So there's no real structure in it. Let me also watch or try to see why things like this happen. This is all alright. Why is the compressor not working anymore? The compressor is connected to motor. Or do I say but that is motor 1. Absolutely motor 1. Why is motor 1 no longer engaged? Okay, let me start it again and then not press the motor sensor, the gearing, but one of the other. Now it works, and I press sensor 4. Now sensor 3 it is. As you can probably see here is sensor 3. And the arm is still working, as you can see here. So that is not working. Somehow the compression is totally off, because I do touch the fingers, and you can also see that the motor has stopped moving. So there is something odd on the hardware I have to change. I have to check. So while checking everything, it seems that I just need some more patience than I used to, because I'm pressing the fingers. And and now it doesn't work. And that is odd, because just before the camera was started it did work. Let's stop it and start it again. Finger 3 again to start it and to start the compressor. This is finger 1, finger 2, which lost its grip, which is not the intention at all, of course. This works, this works, this works, and this one I have to fix. Turn the camera away, and I need to make a short intervention. Let's see if this works. It doesn't. So the algorithm certainly needs to be changed. Because there's no compression here. None at all. Although I say that the algorithm needs to be changed, I am not sure in what way, because the compression is certainly there, and if I look back here, it is just working and nicely, and in the last thing you see here that I press all the fingers, so they are being sensed. And while this happens, and I change nothing in the pneumatic tubes, why are the valves or the springs not working? I honestly can't tell you. And then suddenly here there is just one direction set, which should be the case. So let's just try again. The motor for the up and down movement is heard immediately now. High pitching noise. And when I look back here, it is touching sensor 10 because it's completely turned up, but there's nothing to do. It doesn't say anything, so that's a bit odd. Why doesn't it put something? And I press it further and now it goes. So I suspect that somehow the sensor isn't fully pressed, and that is something that turns out to be some kind of working in the material, because once again I press the sensor and it works. And it stops again, press the sensor and it goes. And now for the pneumatics. Oh, that's right, the compression doesn't work now. So let me see if I get compression working. It is not working at all. So I silence it. I put it to work. And this is of course a problem. Because it senses for one input only, and if there's an input going on, it doesn't sense for another input. So I'm going to do one test. Press sensor 10. Now it works, and then press sensor 10 again. Now I managed to get the compressor working. So I have to keep in mind that both sensors 9 and 10 are not pressed, and only then I can start the compressor. And yet okay, that's a very clear thing. While it was going up and down, there's a while loop here, and during this it can't possibly sense one of these, which are for the fingers. So yes, I need to change the algorithm. Either have this working or have this working, but both is for now not possible. And that also keeps the fingers from being moved. So that's a bit irky. And the while loop is necessary to turn the whole gearing up and down. So I might do it that I wait then for some time, get the fingers work, and then do it otherwise. Let's do that. Asleep, and I need to do it time dot sleep for say 4 seconds. Here as well. On 40 but 4. And go again. And by hearing the motor, I have to press the sensor. Now it waits for 4 seconds. And yes, and I have to press the sensor again. Okay, that was a nice idea, but it's not working. That is to say, it is working. This is finger 3. But with quite some delay. There it goes one direction. And I'm pressing either of the fingers. Still pressing the fingers. And this is not going to be a nice situation, because the fingers are not registered. So yes, this really needs a change for algorithm. I have to think about that. With the programming and testing the sensors, it becomes clear that both here there's some change needed, because for some reason the upper sensor and perhaps the lower sensor as well, but certainly the upper sensor is not being touched completely. Because if I do it by hand, it suddenly works. And the algorithm prevents that if the motor is working with the gearing, then there's no chance that the fingers can be moved. And if it is waiting for one input in the while loop, then there is a problem. So it's either one or the other, and I don't know yet how to fix all this. Maybe some interchanging, either one or the other. Anyway, it turns out that it all works, but not the way I like. And there is some more space in here, but for that I have to change the setup of the gearing. So software wise and hardware wise there is room for improvement. So I'm gonna let it be for this time. Thank you for watching, and certainly to be continued.